Trump and Zelensky take questions at the White House. Let's do this.
President Zelensky of Ukraine has endured a lot. I mean, he really has. He's endured a lot, and we've endured it with him. To be honest, it's been a long time, and I think we're making great progress. So we're going to be talking about that today. We'll be talking about what took place yesterday with my phone call with President Putin. And I think that things are coming along pretty well.
$10 super chat from Albie Dam says, not going to lie, when this started back in 2021, I was rooting for Ukraine. Then I saw how much Zelensky was demanding and really ended up disliking them. No more hate, just want it to end. Thanks for the $10 super chat, homie.
We want it ended. So many people have died in this war, and we're gonna get it ended. So I just want to thank you all very
like
much.
7,000 a week,
questions, go ahead,
right?
Please.
Las Vegas says, I'm with President Trump. I want people to stop dying. That's where I'm at. 7,000 a week are dying from that war. That's insane. There's so many like sparks of life just going out.
And I think it looks beautiful in his jacket.
Yeah?
It's beautiful. I hope people notice. It's actually very stylish.
What's really funny, we just have a shot of the back of Zelensky's head. Like, it's just such a strange shot.
Would your administration allow Ukrainians to strike deep into Russia?
We're going to be talking about that. That's something we'll be talking about. You're right. It's an escalation, but we'll be talking about that.
Mr. President, will President Zelensky join you in Hungary to meet President Putin?
Because it's a leader that we like. We like Viktor Orban. He likes him. I like him. It's a country that's a safe country. So we've decided that we'll be going to be with Viktor Orban, and I think he'll be a very good host.
President Trump, President Trump, right here. President Trump.
Hungary, yeah. We're doing Hungary.
Jump.
Trilateral meeting, or is it just you and Putin?
To be determined, but I would say most likely it'll be a double meeting, but we will have the President, Zelensky, in touch. There's a lot of bad blood with the two presidents, and I'm not speaking out of turn when I say it. It's a very difficult situation.
President Trump
doesn't agree to peace in Hungary.
Was he what? Where are you from?
Bryant Nitro's in the chat says, howdy, what'd I miss? I'm fresh out of jail. How long were you in jail? You might have missed a lot.
Well, let's see what happens.
2 days?
I mean, you know what?
You missed like 3 world wars.
He will. I think that President Putin wants to end the war, or I wouldn't be talking this way. I think he wants to end the war. I spoke to him yesterday for 2.5 hours.
Bro, you got out of jail on a Friday? Fucking W, dude. They could have held you till Monday, but nah, you're getting out on Friday. That's good.
I think that President Zelensky wants to get it ended. Now we have to get it done.
Kara Castronova from Lindell TV, and although I love asking you questions, today my question is for President Zelensky of Ukraine.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Our President Zelensky, President Trump, just brokered a peace deal in the Middle East that all Americans, both sides of the aisle, are very proud of. But to meet that deal, both sides had to make concessions. Our president has stuck out his neck in many ways to make a peace deal for your war as well. What specific concessions are you willing to make to end this war with Russia? Will you give up joining NATO? Americans have foreign war fatigue, and our president, as he said, we need our tomahawks too.
To me.
Yes, you, President Zelensky.
Thank you very much.
That's some question. Right?
So many questions in one. Thank you very much for your question. First of all, I think we need to sit and speak. The second point, we need ceasefire. Even now, you see in the Middle East, it's very difficult to hold ceasefire. Everywhere, in every war, it's very difficult. We want peace. Putin doesn't want. And as I said previously, so we are ready to speak in any kind of format, bilateral, trilateral, doesn't matter. Matter just peace. The most important thing for people in Ukraine, which are under each day's attacks, to have really strong security guarantees. NATO is the best, but weapon is very important. Allies on our side is very important, and between us, for us, bilateral security guarantees between me.
I love this back of the head perspective. It's fucking hilarious, but what he's saying makes sense to me. Of course he would say those things. Of course that he's saying, hey, what we need is security, because he doesn't want to get fucked with again. That totally makes sense. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm not from Ukraine. I'm not Russian. I'm not any of this. I'm American. I'm way over here on the other side of an ocean, completely unaffected by this, except that it's in our politics, our news cycle, and we're spending money on it.
President Trump, you are the middleman right now, hoping to end this conflict. Who is doing a better job negotiating, President Zelensky or President Putin?
I think they're both doing a great job in that sense. We have to get it done. Take some of the hatred of each other. You know, they don't like each other. I say that in front of President Zelensky, but I say it in front of President Putin too. They have tremendous bad blood. It's really is what is holding up, I think, a settlement. I think we're going to get it done, and we have to make it long-lasting. As I said in the Middle East, everlasting, right? Everlasting. And the Middle East is a much more complicated situation. You know,
it's technically holding for like a week now, the ceasefire. It's Friday. Last Friday, we reported on a ceasefire, and we had to wait until Monday to get the hostages, which we did. Not all of them, but now they are digging up other. They're having a hard time getting some of the dead bodies because they're under rubble and in these tunnels and shit. So it's hard to get to them, but they're trying. Now, there has been some deaths still. Hamas has been executing people in Gaza. So that's a problem, and that could lead to problems even bigger, which reigniting the war. That's where we're at. It's still very delicate, but we've held a week with the exception of executions in Gaza.
When we were in Israel with President Trump earlier in the week, we heard a lot about the difference in diplomacy between President Trump and President Joe Biden before him. What do you see as the biggest difference in diplomacy between President Trump and President Biden?
President Trump has a big chance now to finish this war. President Biden now is not the president, so he doesn't have a chance to finish this war. And President Trump is really showed for the world that he can manage ceasefire in Middle East, and that's why I hope that he will do this, and we will also have such big success. For Ukraine, it's a big chance, and I hope that President Trump can manage it.
I would say the biggest difference is one is extremely competent and the other one is grossly incompetent.
Mr. President.
Sir, a few weeks ago in New York when you two met, you said that you think Ukraine could ultimately take back all the territory that it's lost so far. Do you still think that's the case, or do you think there'll have to be some sort of
You
swap
never
of
know.
territories?
Look, you know, war is very interesting. You never know, do you? You just never know. With war and peace, but you never know.
$5 super chat from Will You Teach Me says, where the Europeans at? They are right there. Europe should protect Ukraine. I understand sending some weapons by US, but not billions of dollars. So I think we're done sending like tons of billions of dollars like we did during under Biden, but we're still following up with some aid that was agreed on, which is mostly weapons. And it's according to what I just looked up on Grok, we're even asking for Europe to pay for, if they want money over there, then Europe has to cough up some money and stop depending on us to give them all the money. It's not stopped entirely, but it's a whole lot less than before. And that is acceptable to me.
India and Hungary could still refuse.
You said India and Hungary? That's an interesting. India and Hungary. It's an interesting combination.
Refuse to stop buying Russian oil.
Well, India is not going to be buying Russian oil anymore.
We'll see.
And Hungary is sort of stuck because they have one pipeline that's been there for years and years and years, and they're inland. They don't have ports. You know, they're surrounded by land. So we'll see what happens there. But India will not be buying oil from Russia. They bought about 38% of the oil, and they won't be doing it anymore.
$5 super chat from Justin says, me personally, I don't think us American taxpayers should pay for anybody's war. A lot of people feel that way, dude. And again, like what's the best end result for us? Sometimes maybe paying for it could be good because of like whatever the results are, but it's also a big gamble.
If you okay tomahawks to Ukraine, what's going to happen if the United States is in a conflict and we need the tomahawks? Do we
Well,
have enough?
that's the problem. We need tomahawks, and we need a lot of other things that we've been sending over the last 4 years to Ukraine. We've been, you know, we gave them a lot. Now we have a different situation. We send it to the European Union. They pay for it and all that, and they have plenty of money. But it's beyond the money. You know, we need tomahawks, and we need a lot of other weapons that we're sending to Ukraine. One of the reasons we want to get this war over is exactly that. So that's one of the things we'll be talking about. Hopefully they won't need it. Hopefully we'll be able to get the war over with without thinking about tomahawks.
You don't use just tomahawks. If you want to target a military goal, you need thousands of drones. It goes together with such missiles. Ukraine has such thousands of our production drones, but we don't have tomahawks. That's why we need tomahawks. But United States is a very strong production. And the United States has Tomahawks and other missiles, very strong missiles. But they can have our thousands of drones. That's why where we can work together, where we can strengthen
Here we go.
American production.
And so just so that I understand, so you're suggesting kind of a trade. If President Trump okays Tomahawk missiles to help you launch
Yes, it's
into
about
Russia,
military goals. It's
you
only
would
about
let-
military goals.
Right, but then you would authorize some kind of an exchange where
Yes, of course.
the U.S. gets
Yes, we have
Ukrainian-
proposition. Yeah,
And
we have big proposition
President-
with our drones.
Is that something that you would be interested in, Ukrainian drones?
We are, yeah, we would. We have a lot of drones right now. We build our own drones, but we also buy drones from others, and they make a very good drone. I mean, drone warfare has really come to the fore over the last couple of years because of this war.
Drones are cheap compared to missiles. That's true. And drones are going to get even like way more capable. You'll be able to put little explosive HEs inside of these things, and they're very precise and can fly in and out. They can go in a building and fly around and land somewhere. And you could just send zillions of them, like, so they can't stop them all. Pretty wild.
You will go down as the peacemaker, no doubt, and you will resolve this war.
Well, you know, we resolved 8 others, and every time I solve one, they say, if you solve the next one, you're going to get the Nobel Prize. I didn't get a Nobel Prize. Somebody got it who's a very nice woman, very nice. I don't know who she is, but she was very generous. If you solve one more, you're going to be known as a peacekeeper. So to the best of my knowledge, we've never had a president that solved one war. Bush started a war. A lot of them start wars, but they don't solve the wars. They don't settle them. And especially when they have nothing to do with us.
On Venezuela, there are survivors from your latest boat strike. What happens to those survivors?
Well, I'll ask Marco to discuss that.
Here we go. What's going on with the survivors?
It's well known there's an ongoing narco-terrorist operation the United States has been conducting. As far as details of any recent strikes, we're not prepared here to announce all those details, but you'll get that information here very shortly.
And how are there survivors when these are meant to be lethal attacks?
That's a good question.
Yeah, again, I mean, we're undertaking these operations against narco-terrorists. That's what
Stronger
these are,
missiles.
terrorists. Let's be clear. And but as far as the details of any recent operations, when we are prepared to announce those, we will, as the president has consistently done. So you may get something on that later today.
Let me ask you, that was in a submarine, right? We attacked a submarine.
What I want to know, was the submarine on the surface or was it under the water and they shot it with a missile from the air while it was in the water? Because that sounds rad.
That was a drug-carrying submarine built specifically for the transportation of massive amounts of drugs. Just so you understand, this was not an innocent group of people.
Drug submarines. That's
I don't
wild.
know too many people that have submarines, and that was an attack on a drug-carrying, loaded-up submarine. Yeah.
Always on surface, partial subs. Got it.
Putin-Trump tunnel to connect Russia and Alaska. Are you interested?
I just heard about it. A tunnel from Russia to Alaska. I just heard about that
What the
one.
fuck
That's
is
an
that
interesting
about?
one. We'll have to think about that. I hadn't heard that. We just did a nice road in Alaska that's going to get us to a lot of minerals, and we have a piece of it, a good piece of the ownership because of the fact we made it possible. But this came up yesterday, a tunnel from Russia to Alaska. That's an interesting. What do you think of that,
What?
Mr. President? Do you have any ideas? How do you like that idea?
He doesn't like it.
I'm not happy with this.
I don't think you're going to like it. I don't think you liked it. I don't think you liked it.
President Trump.
Vestal Tosin, you're from Alaska. How do you feel about Russia having a tunnel to Alaska from Russia?
Mr. President, it has been reported that Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States.
Oh!
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Said it. There it is. Get the fuck out of the press room now.